Hello everybody, this is quixQuery, and today we are back playing more QuixPack, and we are at it right here today, going at some things, and the goal for today's episode is to get osmium seeds and start work on a little more automation of the farm underneath our base there. So, I wanted to start off today's episode with a sodium and hydrogen pun, but nah. So, ×5 ore processing is a little more simple than some of the other ones in some aspects. Once you have sulfuric acid, all you have to do is put that in the chemical dissolution chamber with your ore. It gets turned into a dirty slurry, which the dirty slurry then gets washed in the chemical washer, water, and so on and so forth, and then it gets crystallized into the crystals. So pretty simple. Now sulfuric acid is not necessarily the most simple part of this. So let's look at our diagram here right now. So we actually need to make this sulfur right here, and that requires gunpowder and hydrogen chloride. We've been making hydrogen chloride, so I'm not too concerned about the hydrogen chloride part. Gunpowder, we have a little bit of it, but we honestly only need a little bit of sulfuric acid for the osmium crystals for our osmium seeds. So once we get the sulfuric the sulfur dust, we put it in the chemical oxidizer, which is another machine that we have, and that turns it into sulfur dioxide. Now, in order to turn it into, we at that point turn it into sulfur trioxide, and from sulfur trioxide, we use some other machine to turn it into the sulfuric acid that we need. I will make another note around here. I believe what we can do, now hear me out on this, this will look a little odd to begin with. We're going to put this up here. Okay, the multi-block's going to form, and then we're going to grab our basic universal cables, run them across the front here, and then down to the rest of our power cable. And I think this actually works for providing power to the system. They appear to be outputting the power, or at least one of them does. Are things requiring power right now? This requires power. This requires power. It has power. Oh, oxygen is... Oh, okay. I see what's happening. Dump excess and dump excess. We'll put dump excess on both of those, so just in case something gets more filled up than the other, then we don't have to worry about the rest of it. So now the problem with that is that there will always be this machine will always be running, so we want to make sure that we have all 8 energy upgrades in it so that it will take the least amount of RF per tick from our system. So this is working. This one is now out. This one is running out now, and this is producing hydrogen chloride for us, which we will need to use for a couple different things, including for sulfur. Actually, wait, no, we can just put the gunpowder into the chemical injection chamber here. Yeah, no, that's not bad at all. Okay, so the first step is to put the sulfur from our chemical injection chamber into our chemical oxidizer. So we let's grab some gunpowder here real quick. Okay, we had a grand total of 6 gunpowder in our system, so that is definitely something we need to look at some point in the near future. Now, this will give us the sulfur. Let's wait for it here. There we go. Okay, we get our sulfur. The sulfur then goes into our chemical oxidizer, and we already had supplied this with a little bit of power, so that's, yeah, and then that gives us sulfur dioxide. Now, we want to, first off, we want to supply this machine with power. And second off, we then want to run the gases from there into the next machine. Okay, the next machine is a chemical infuser, and we will then infuse the sulfur dioxide with oxygen. Where are we getting our oxygen from? Well, right now it's from our electrolytic separator right here, and things are currently running low on power. We will... Oh, this has our energy upgrades in it. That is probably not what we want our energy upgrades in. This is probably what we want our energy upgrades in, actually. The chemical infusers. So let's give this the energy upgrades. This has gas upgrades in it, though, and so that's you know, where we want our gas upgrades. Oxidizer, simple. Here we have our sulfur dioxide. We need our pressurized tubes, and we need oxygen. So we can get oxygen from right here. Nope, that is our universal cable. We do not want to use our universal cable to transfer oxygen. There we go. Okay, and now we can put our purification chamber right here. Sure. And that will fill up with oxygen too. So now both of these are being produced and being sent to their spots. Now we have sulfur dioxide and oxygen in here that should produce sulfur trioxide when we provide this with power. So let's run the power to it. And aha, we have our sulfur trioxide. So now we take our sulfur trioxide and run that into another chemical infuser. And here we go. This looks quite complicated, but I promise I will explain all of what's going on. You can see right now that there's sulfuric acid going into the chemical dissolution chamber. There's not very much, but there is sulfuric acid going into the chemical dissolution chamber, which is exactly what we want. That was kind of our end goal. So last time we saw that last clip we saw that the chemical infuser right here was all hooked up and producing sulfur trioxide. Now to turn that into sulfuric acid, we need water vapor and the sulfur trioxide in a chemical infuser. So here's our chemical infuser. You can see the power is being run kind of in the ground for the moment being. That's the power cable. This cable right here is a pressurized tube, and it's for the gas that comes out of the chemical infuser, the sulfur trioxide. And this one is for the water vapor, which comes from the rotary condensator right here. And so what this does is it's a full-time job of turning water into water vapor. And yeah, it's pretty simple. And so we just took water from our pipes right there. This is having trouble keeping up actually right now, which is quite interesting. But as you can see right here, this is full of water vapor, and this right here is producing water vapor, so on and so forth. And this will then take the sulfur trioxide, which is actually, we should really be looking at it from this side. The sulfur trioxide, which comes from over here, this pipe, and the water vapor, which comes from this pipe, and turns it into sulfur trioxide. Sulfuric acid, sorry. And so now what we do is we put our ores in here, and this has maximum amount of gas upgrades. You can see right here, it has all eight gas upgrades, and so now it only takes one piece of sulfur for this to work. So they're already sulfur, and so what we can do is we can just put that in there, and so on and so forth. But anyway, what happens is, yeah, you can see this turns into the osmium ore slurry, which then gets washed with water and put into the crystallizer. The crystallizer then takes the clean osmium slurry and turns it into osmium crystals. So it's a pretty simple process, but I thought I would show everyone what is going on. We're actually having trouble keeping up with what's going on power-wise around here. We just finished filling up on chlorine over here, and so things are starting to lax off a bit. You know, become a little bit nicer and stuff as far as this goes. But yeah, we are struggling on power over here a little bit, but the main goal right here is to get the osmium crystals. We have our osmium crystals. We can now make our osmium seeds, and what else do we need to do with this? We need to make our Project E Philosopher's Stone with these at some point. But before we do that, we'll get into the other stuff next episode, the Avaricia Dire Crafting Table and some other stuff like that. So, yeah. We'll just wait for this to process. Quest complete. 5 times ore processing. Let's check that out in our quest book right now. And we get an ultimate bag from this, and this is one of our very first ultimate bags, if I remember correctly. Proceed to Project E. Yep. Okay, so we claim our ultimate bag. Let's see what's inside. We got a basic bag, a lunch bag, some obsidian TNT that I kind of want to look at, osmium shards, and a half heart. So not that great, but, you know, not that bad either. And the stuff in the other bags was pretty good. We bought a pretty good lunch bag, Yeah, that was a pretty good lunch bag. But we have now processed our crystals and can use them in recipes. There are 2 major recipes well, I guess that this is used in. It is used in the chemical injection chamber to do osmium shards, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Extreme crafting, it is used for the Philosopher's Stone, and in the Empower, it is used to make osmium seeds with tier 5 crafting seeds. So, let's make these osmium seeds right now. Osmium crystals in place, and let's put the osmium blocks on too, and our tier 5 crafting seeds. Make sure that these all have some amount of power in them, and it appears as they do. And this should make osmium seeds for us. Bum-ba-dum. We have osmium seeds, which is quite nice, and we will now take a couple stacks of this, come up here, and I believe we actually we got diamond and quartz. I think I want to put this with the gold. I think. Let's just do that. Here's our fertilized essence. Just right click and eat pizza. And we should get a bunch of osmium seeds this way, which should start up our osmium seed stuff quite nicely. So now that osmium seeds are added to our system down there, that is quite a nice addition. We are going to fall down below our thing up here. Okay. What we want to do, if you recall from the last episode, we looked at something in the Random Things mod called the Redstone Activator. No, the Redstone interface, the Advanced Redstone interface. And so we will, making those will be its own thing. It should be pretty simple though. Looks like a pretty cheap recipe, but the big thing that we need to keep in mind is that those are filled up with position filters. Now we need over a stack of these position filters, each with a different location of a mechanical user in it. Now, we don't have all our mechanical users down there yet, but I'm not too worried about getting that. I want to get the redstone on-off stuff up and running before we finish getting all of our mechanical users in place. So, we need a bunch of these position filters. So, we have a good chunk of sugar cane. We have some paper. I'm not too worried about that part. What we really need is the purple dye, because each of these requires 4 purple dye. So, we need, I don't know, I'd say at least 8 stacks of purple dye in order to make all of the position filters that we need. So, let's actually look into a mod that we haven't looked at quite yet, the chickens mod, and we are going to, I guess, look at it right here. We need a chicken analyzer. The chicken analyzer is pretty easy to put together, so let's do that right now. The chicken analyzer, it's just an egg and a compass. We do not have a compass, but that is pretty easy to fix. We now have our chicken analyzer. Haha. Okay. Now the next quest is to make a nest, and the nest can be used to hatch chickens, and it can be sped up by lighting a redstone lamp or sitting on it. So, it's, okay. Let's make a nest. And that just requires 3 hay bales per nest. It's pretty simple. We got our nest. Okay. The hatchery makes it easy to store chickens and collect drops. Use the animal net to place chickens inside. So, nesting pin is right there. It's a nest and a bunch of wood, so we will just make one of those real quick. Pretty simple. Claim our reward, which gives us an animal net. We actually have an animal net in our advanced inventory right now. I made one earlier to mess around with the stuff on the top when I was doing my stakes have never been higher pun. So that is all of the easy stuff out of the way. Now, what we want is we want to get into the dye chickens, and so we're gonna make a bone white chicken egg. So, let's just do @chicken. The chickens mod. Okay, here we go. Here's our chickens mod. We need a fence for all our chickens to go in. And we need a couple more nests. So do we have hay bales? We do, from loot bags. Quite nice. So let's make 1, 2, 3 of those. That should be sufficient for what we need to do. And so each of these requires 1 of the dye and an egg in order to create that type of chicken. And so let's make a white chicken egg. That completes that quest, which is pretty simple. And now we get thrown into all the dye chickens. And so what we really want is the purple chickens. So we need some purple dye. Do we have any purple dye? Do we have any blue dye? Not right now. Oh, do we have any lapis? Yes, we have lapis. Okay. Do we have, what other? Red dye. Red? How do we make red dye? Roses? That's right. Okay. We do not have those. Do we have tulips? No, we do not. How else? Rose bushes and beets. Do we have beets? We do not have beets. And we do not have any rose bushes. Let's look through here, and I thought we had a flower at some point that would... I mean, we have dandelions. Apparently we don't. Just have to go searching for one of those. Well, that was not a long search. That was actually quite a short search. I was expecting to be searching longer for a red flower. Okay, so that's pretty simple. We got our stuff right there, and we also have our lapis. Those two together make our purple dye. Now, we want our purple chicken egg, okay? And now that is, let's just throw our purple dye in there too. And right now our white egg, because right now we really want the purple chickens so that we can get our purple dye. Let's check our quest book just to make sure that that's all passed off. It is. Awesome. Now we need a spot for these chickens to go. Hey! Our ender lily has yielded us an ender pearl. That is quite nice after like a year of waiting. Nice. Good stuff. Let's fence these chickens in right here. Sure. Actually, let's get out our shovel here and tear this out real quick. Awesome. And now we actually have enough space to do something. So here we are. Just a simple little pin right here for the chickens to go inside of. Now, do we have torches on us? We do not right now. That's interesting. Okay. Well, we can put the nest in here for the moment being. The nests, all three of them. And put our purple chicken egg inside the nest. And that will hatch it eventually. Now, if we sit on it, it's supposed to hatch faster. That might just be a myth. And up to 3%. Now, if we step off of it, how long is it going to take to get up to 4? Okay, I think that's just all bogus. I don't think that it gets any faster by sitting on it. Yeah, no, that's completely and totally a myth. So I've been sitting around here and letting the chickens do their thing and hatching them gradually, and so now we have 10, 10, 10 chickens. You know, it didn't actually take all that much work. It was just, kind of occasionally I would just check back in and make sure things were okay. I died at least once, you can see right there, and another couple creeper explosions and some other incidents with mobs and stuff. But I did figure out that the one that I'm standing on top of does actually hatch faster. And so there are a couple of times where I had one that was that started hatching earlier, and it's like this one was at 34%, and this is the one I've been sitting on. You can see it's at 92%. And I've started these two at about the same time. So, but there are times when I would stand on one that was at 40% and another one that was at 80%, and the one I was standing on would get hatched faster. And it was kind of like, wow, okay, apparently sitting on them does matter. So, myth confirmed, I guess. So our comment of the day is from The Real Infinite. It is the comment of the episode. Anyway, The Real Infinite's had a comment of the episode before, but, this is a comment that I felt like was important to talk about. And it says, if your computer can handle it, you can stream using Restream.io to stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Well, thank you for that. That's quite an interesting thought. An option I did not necessarily realize was available. However, I didn't necessarily look into being able to stream on multiple platforms for a couple of different reasons. The reason number one is that as kind of starting up with the streaming and stuff, I feel like it would probably be an easier thing for not only myself, but for other people as well, if the stream was just simplified and, it would just be easier to manage and other stuff like that while I figure out how things work with all of this. And so I'm not too worried about it right now. Yeah, so we're just going to be doing Twitch. Now, reason number 2, YouTube has been a little odd recent months. So, YouTubers have randomly gotten demonetization of their videos for what is apparently no reason. They've tried to get reasons from the guys at YouTube and have not gotten anything. And so, if there's some other platform that's more popular than YouTube for streaming, then, and I'm already using it anyway, then I might as well just continue using it. So Twitch is where it's at as far as streaming goes. So definitely hop on over to Twitch when I do the streams and stuff like that. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm QuixQuery, and in the next episode we'll look at the dire crafting table and a little bit more into the automation of the farm down below. So until next time, I'm QuixQuery, and I will see you around. Thank you so much for watching.